Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889 in Braunau am Inn, a town in Austria-Hungary, present-day Austria, close to the border with the German Empire. He was the fourth of 6 children born to Alois Hitler and his third wife, Klara Pölzl. 3 of Hitler's siblings, Gustav, Ida, and Otto, died in infancy. In 1907, Hitler left Linz to live and study fine art in Vienna, financed by orphans' benefits and support from his mother. He applied for admission to the Academy of Fine Arts Vienna but was rejected twice. The director suggested Hitler should apply to the School of Architecture, but he lacked the necessary academic credentials because he had not finished secondary school. On December 21, 1907, his mother died at the age of 47. Hitler was 18 at the time. In 1909, Hitler ran out of money and was forced to live a bohemian life in homeless shelters and a men's dormitory. In Vienna, Hitler was first exposed to racist rhetoric. During his life in Vienna, Hitler also developed fervent anti-Slavic sentiments. Hitler received the final part of his father's estate in May 1913 and moved to Munich, Germany. When he was conscripted into the Austro-Hungarian Army, he journeyed to Salzburg on February 5, 1914 for medical assessment. After he was deemed unfit for service, he returned to Munich. In August 1914, at the outbreak of World War I, Hitler was living in Munich and voluntarily enlisted in the Bavarian Army. During his service at headquarters, Hitler pursued his artwork, drawing cartoons and instructions for an army newspaper. During the Battle of the Somme in October 1916, he was wounded in the left thigh when a shell exploded in the dispatch runner's dugout. Hitler spent almost 2 months recovering in hospital at Beelitz, returning to his regiment on March 5, 1917. On October 15, 1918, he was temporarily blinded in a mustard gas attack and was hospitalized in Pasewalk. While there, Hitler learned of Germany's defeat and, by his own account, suffered a second bout of blindness after receiving this news. Hitler described his role in World War I as the greatest of all experiences, and was praised by his commanding officers for his bravery. His wartime experience reinforced his German patriotism, and he was shocked by Germany's capitulation in November 1918. His displeasure with the collapse of the war effort began to shape his ideology. The Treaty of Versailles stipulated that Germany had to relinquish several of its territories and demilitarize the Rhineland. The treaty imposed economic sanctions and levied heavy reparations on the country. Many Germans saw the treaty as an unjust humiliation. The Versailles Treaty and the economic, social, and political conditions in Germany after the war were later exploited by Hitler for political gain. After World War I, Hitler returned to Munich without formal education or career prospects. He remained in the army. Hitler made his earliest known written statement about the Jewish question in a September 16, 1919 letter to Adolf Gemlich, now known as the Gemlich Letter. In the letter, Hitler argues that the aim of the government must unshakably be the removal of the Jews altogether. Hitler was discharged from the army on March 31, 1920 and began working full-time for the party. The party headquarters was in Munich, a center for anti-government German nationalists determined to eliminate Marxism and undermine the Weimar Republic. In February 1921, already highly effective at crowd manipulation, he spoke to a crowd of over 6,000. In 1923, Hitler enlisted the help of World War I General Erich Ludendorff for an attempted coup known as the Beer Hall Putsch. The Nazi Party used Italian fascism as a model for their appearance and policies. Hitler wanted to emulate Benito Mussolini's March on Rome of 1922 by staging his own coup in Bavaria, to be followed by a challenge to the government in Berlin. Hitler and Ludendorff sought the support of Staatskommissar, State Commissioner, Gustav Ritter von Kahr, Bavaria's de facto ruler. However, Kahr, along with police chief Hans Ritter von Caesar and Reichswehr General Otto von Lossow, wanted to install a nationalist dictatorship without Hitler. At the time of Hitler's release from prison, politics in Germany had become less combative and the economy had improved, limiting Hitler's opportunities for political agitation. As a result of the failed Beer Hall Putsch, The Nazi Party and its affiliated organizations were banned in Bavaria. In a meeting with the Prime Minister of Bavaria, Heinrich held on January 4, 1925, Hitler agreed to respect the state's authority and promised that he would seek political power only through the democratic process. The meeting paved the way for the ban on the Nazi Party to be lifted on February 16. The absence of an effective government prompted two influential politicians, Franz von Papen and Alfred Hugenberg, along with several other industrialists and businessmen, to write a letter to Hindenburg. The signers urged Hindenburg to appoint Hitler as leader of a government independent from parliamentary parties, which could turn into a movement that would enrapture millions of people. On January 30, 1933, the Nazi Party gained 3 posts. Hitler was named Chancellor, Wilhelm Frick Minister of the Interior, and Hermann Göring Minister of the Interior for Prussia. Hitler had insisted on the ministerial positions as a way to gain control over the police in much of Germany. As Chancellor, Hitler worked against attempts by the Nazi Party's opponents to build a majority government. Because of the political stalemate, he asked Hindenburg to again dissolve the Reichstag, and elections were scheduled for early March. Hitler's promises that attracted Germans to the Nazi Party included restoring German dignity and greatness, returning to traditional values and forms of governance, re-establishing male dominance and homebound women, withdrawing from the League of Nations, opposing communism, discarding the Versailles Treaty, and blaming Jews and internationalists for Germany's problems. He also pledged to provide jobs, food, and prosperity amid the economic crisis of the Great Depression. These promises appealed to many Germans who were overwhelmed by rapid social and economic changes. On February 27, 1933, the Reichstag building was set on fire. Göring blamed a communist plot, as Dutch communist Marinus van der Lubbe was found in incriminating circumstances inside the burning building. Until the 1960s, some historians, including William L. Shire and Alan Bullock, thought the Nazi Party itself was responsible. The current consensus of nearly all historians is that van der Lubbe set the fire alone. At Hitler's urging, Hindenburg responded by signing the Reichstag Fire Decree of February 28, drafted by the Nazis, which suspended basic rights and allowed detention without trial. The decree was permitted under Article 48 of the Weimar Constitution, which gave the president the power to take emergency measures to protect public safety and order. Activities of the German Communist Party, KPD, were suppressed, and some 4,000 KPD members were arrested. On Election Day, March 6, 1933, the Nazi Party's share of the vote increased to 43.9%, and the party acquired the largest number of seats in parliament. On March 21, 1933, the new Reichstag was constituted with an opening ceremony at the Garrison Church in Potsdam. This Day of Potsdam was held to demonstrate unity between the Nazi movement and the old Prussian elite and military. Hitler appeared in a morning coat and humbly greeted Hindenburg to achieve full political control despite not having an absolute majority in parliament. Hitler's government brought the Enabling Act to a vote in the newly elected Reichstag. On July 14, 1933, the Nazi Party was declared the only legal political party in Germany. Hitler took care to give his dictatorship the appearance of legality. Many of his decrees were explicitly based on the Reichstag Fire Decree and hence on Article 48 of the Weimar Constitution. The Reichstag renewed the Enabling Act twice, each time for a 4-year period. Now Germany was in complete dictatorship.